Hi, everyone. Welcome to International Hospitality Day 24. I'm Deborah Gardner, author, keynote speaker, and your host for this stellar celebration and special edition. We are absolutely buzzing with excitement to have all of you, yes, all of you high schoolers, college students, university students, the future hospitality rock stars from every corner of the globe, joining us for this fun day. It's a virtual show courtesy of the fabulous Grand Valley State University Hospitality Tourism Management Program in beautiful Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now, let me introduce you to someone who's as dynamite. I mean, she's just dynamite. I mean, as she is dedicated to this industry. I mean, picture a leader who's not just a people management pro, but also someone who's always ready to dive into the trenches and get her hands dirty. Sounds like a superhero, right? That's because she is. I want you to meet Kelley Bolender from MC&A, my longtime friend and hospitality legend. So buckle up because she's about to blow your mind. Here we go. Happy International Hospitality Student Day 24. Thanks for being with us for this epic event. The students watching are so ready to be inspired and energized by Kelley, my friend, which is exactly who you are. Welcome, Kelley.
Thank you. Thanks, Deb. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yep, and I am so excited because I love whenever I get a chance to have a longtime friend on the show because we know each other so well. We have so much fun. And of course, I couldn't wait to show you something even more fun like this. Which happens to be what hospitality is about. I think this was a golf outing for how many years ago?
No, I don't even know, but that was a blast. I mean, MPI, and I mean, that's kind of, thanks for pulling that one out.
Yeah, I thought, oh gosh, we go way back, definitely.
Way back.
Now, I'm going to start out because these are students, not only from Grand Valley State University, but from around the world. You graduated from the University of Delaware. And from what I've heard, your first job ever was in hospitality and you never looked back. What were some of the jobs you've had throughout your career in hospitality? What makes you stay in this career that has such long hours and hard work?
Yeah. Well, first off, I do want to put a little disclaimer on that first job. Just so that this is between you and I. Most people don't know this, but my very first job was when I worked. My mom was a doctor, had her own practice. And I thought, well, great. I'll just go help and work out at the doctor's office. It'll be great. I realized quickly that the medical field was not my thing, as I fainted one time in the entryway. So I was like, what would be another good job? And I walked across the street, literally, to the Gap Diner, which is an institution in town. And I was a bus girl. And you're correct. Ever since then, my bus girl opportunity got me, really excited about the hospitality industry. I loved working with the people. I love the change. I love the crazy pace. And so I stayed with the restaurant business. It was something that I knew, I loved, and continued to, I served at some point. I was a bartender through college. And then after college, I thought, I really want to continue this. I had worked at a restaurant that was attached to a golf course. And they said, once you get your degree and you finish school, if you're interested in a restaurant management position, that could be something we could work towards. So just kind of continued that career. And yeah, just, kind of kept leading to one opportunity after the next.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of our industry. The students would love to know, what opportunities are out there. Well, we keep hearing throughout the whole day here that there's so many. It's like it would take us forever to list all of
Yeah,
them.
it is a lot. And one thing that I noticed was that, this is what I encourage everyone in the field, or anyone in thinking about getting into the field, is just keep your eyes open and keep your vision, looking forward, but also looking around you. When I worked at the golf course, I realized that I had this passion for golf that I never knew that I had. And, that was something. And then I saw that they were doing events. And I thought, wow, okay, I worked at a diner. I didn't know what these big events were. And then I saw weddings and tournaments. And I just thought, this is taking this to the next level. Continued to work there, and then eventually really got involved with golf. And that is what brought me to Arizona. 1998 is when I first started coming out here working at Desert Mountain Golf Club. Yeah, please don't do the math. Please don't do the math on that one. But that's when I came out here, and I worked for the Senior Golf Tour, the Senior PGA, and got involved with the Tradition, which was a senior tour event here in town, and combined my love for golf and my hospitality background. And if you'd ever asked me that first day I walked into that diner, I would never have dreamed that it led to that. So
isn't it funny how it snowballs, and before you know it, you've got so many different positions in the industry under your belt. But no wonder you're such a good golfer. I was on my team. But yeah, let's dive into the DMCs and with you being now currently with MC&A. What does that actually stand for? What both of those acronyms actually stand for, and what does a DMC do? Like, what is the day in the life with you and your job?
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a couple things that I could definitely dissect quite a bit. So a DMC stands for Destination Management Company. And we are a very unique niche in the hospitality world. Essentially what we do, I kind of relate it to a concierge is a good way to kind of really, for someone who's not really familiar with it, I kind of explain it that way. You're all familiar with, you're headed out of town and you're headed to some exotic location that you really don't know much about. You don't know, you maybe have figured out the hotel and maybe use a travel agent to get there, or maybe you searched on the web, but you get to the hotel and you want to go see some cool things, and you're going to need a ride from the airport. And when you get there, you want to really immerse yourself into the culture and into, activities. And what do people do in here? What are they known for? And so that's really what we do as a destination management company. We work with all of the large corporate groups that are coming to town, and we help the meeting planner decide what do they want to do? What do they want to accomplish when they're here? So there's some meetings that is very heavy content. They have a lot of meetings. They don't really get a chance to go out and explore. So they want to take that opportunity that you're in a ballroom, you're in meetings hour after hour. How can we make it exciting? How can we kind of break up the time? How can we set the tone, whether visually, with furniture, texture? Do you have some kind of culinary thing where it adds flavor and smell and taste? So we incorporate all 5 senses into what we do, and we really try to elevate every experience that they have when they come to Arizona, so that they walk away going, wow, that was by far the best meeting we've ever had, and we can't wait to come back to Arizona and do it again.
Well, and then of course, actually, you deal with speakers like myself too.
Yeah.
So you can't get rid of that, but
No.
It's part of it. It's part of the entire planning of it. And
Absolutely.
So for students, though, I mean, how many DMCs are out there? Do they have to come to Arizona to work with your DMC, or can they do it where they live?
It really depends. I mean, it is destination specific. So destination management companies tend to be in those markets that are heavily involved with corporate groups coming to town. So I can name a couple. We have offices in Las Vegas. We have offices in San Diego. Orlando, New Orleans. We have affiliates in New York, Colorado, I mean, all over. So we're what's known as a national DMC. We have presence across the country. We also have presence, our sister company, Quoney, is international. We're owned by JTB, one of the world's largest travel companies. And they really support all these different arms and branches of hospitality. So it depends where they live, and it depends on that destination itself. So, but there are communities and there are areas where it may be what is known as an independently owned DMC, and that's usually one or two individuals who own the company and don't have plans for expansion across the country. They, are in one specific market. So, but there's oodle. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but in town there's, I would probably say there's about 10 that, kind of have been through the years and have, made it through all the ups and downs of the crazy hospitality world. But that's, I would say that that's probably the number locally speaking.
And so all these years that you've been in the industry, and especially as a DMC, is there any one event in particular that was memorable? And of course, nothing's ever perfect. What was like maybe the most challenging event that you've ever had to deal with? And how did you deal with that out, to make that a better outcome?
Yeah, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. It gives me kind of like anxiety chills just thinking about it. It's one that I tell over and over again. And it's in terms of like, what adversity did we overcome? So it was a large event. It was a group of 1,200. And we had planned this amazing event out at Desert Foothills, which is a beautiful outdoor venue. It's in Scottsdale. So we're very close to the city, but it's still out in the middle of the desert. When you're there, you can't even tell that you're even close to any civilization. It's cactus. It's got this large barn area. So we were setting up for this group and everything was going great. We had, I would guess probably about 7 vendors on site at that time. And we'll talk about that. I mean, the logistics and the timing and the coordination and all the planning that goes into, it was a year of planning. And we were to the point where we were starting to set, linens were down. We were starting to set the silverware, the glassware. We're, probably about an hour and a half out of when the guests were due to arrive. And I just remember the wind started to pick up a little bit. And I thought, okay, well, it's cooling down. It's okay. And I looked over to the east and it was a black sky. And if anyone who lives in Arizona knows, or anywhere, I really think, but when you're in Arizona, it's bright blue and you see black, it's coming. And I looked at it and I thought, as I'm looking at it, the wind is hitting me in the face. And I'm thinking, we are in big trouble here. So I quickly grabbed my director of operations. I grabbed him and I said, look what's coming. And he goes, I know, I'm looking at it. And we had to make that decision at that point, whether we were going to literally ride the storm or what our plan was. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We have no protection. We have nothing. So at that point, we started to get the word out to all of our captains and leaders, like, hey, we've got to meet right now. We've got to start thinking about what's going to come. And we probably had less than 10 minutes to figure this out. So at that point, we went into safety mode. Safety really was the biggest part. We had all this asset out there, but at the same time, taking care of everyone that was on site was really the most important. How do we protect, is this going to have lightning? Is there going to be rain? Is it just wind? Is it dirt? What is it? So we literally started taking the tablecloths up over the china, up over the silver and the centerpiece, picking it up, wrapping it into a little knot and carrying it into a safer location.
Oh my goodness.
We had to do that for 120 tables.
Oh.
And then we had to figure out how to secure all the kitchen tents. The tents were going to blow away. And they don't just blow away. I mean, everything is destroyed. All of your cooking equipment, everything gets dirty. There's nowhere to wash it.
Oh, right. Oh my God.
Yeah, the storm came in. We literally held on to tents, and really it was a really scary situation, but we got through it. The term dust settled was true. The meeting planner and I looked at each other and she goes, we have 1 hour to reset an entire desert. So, oh yeah. So we called in temps. I don't know how we found them. Inside 30 minutes, we did. We got a water truck. We literally cleaned every single piece of silverware, china, glassware, dried it, reset it, shook out the linens as best as we could. And then the meeting planner went in to ask her planner and said, hey, can you hold them at the hotel for another half hour? Give us a half hour. And they were like, if you can pull this off, you're the best ever. And it all happened. And it was just an incredible story. We cried, we laughed, we celebrated, but I will never forget that day.
Yeah. And with the hospitality team all together,
everybody
made it happen. And oh my gosh, that's
we had,
never forget.
Yeah. We had 10 people that were helping us clean silverware. We had florists. I mean, we had a whole bar that got dumped upside down. All the bottles got broken. So we had restaurants coming over and delivering, supplies because we didn't have everything. So it was a team effort. And it was really cool to see everyone pitch in and take care of each other.
Yeah, and provided
this really well. Yeah.
Provided a solution. And majority of the time when those things happen, the event planner or decision maker or meeting planner always sees the hard work behind it to where they end up rebooking with you again.
Yes, they have been a very loyal customer, and we always reference that, of what could happen and why it's important to have plans. And as much as we had even prepared for that, we weren't ready for all of it.
In Arizona, when we really do have great weather, and when something like that happens, it's a big surprise. So we always cross our fingers. Now, thank you for sharing. That was awesome. Now, Meeting News just came out with a report about destination management organizations, and it said that educating partners and members on AI technology can help DMOs improve marketing efforts, drive up direct bookings, and grow the tourism economy. How does that work?
For us, we're really starting to dip into it. We're doing a lot of AI research. We are attending as many webinars and instructional seminars that are out there. Right now, we are using AI to kind of help us with our plotting, diagramming, logistics. We haven't really dipped into the CRM side of it, although we are looking into it, of how can that help us better stay in touch with our clients? How can it help with, in terms of like the planning of, we know that they came here in 2024. We think that they may be in the running for 2026 or 2027, so it's using the AI technology to really kind of strategize our positioning and our staying in front of the client. But then for the day-to-day, it is using AI in terms of helping with the registration side of things, or the diagramming and layout and the production schedules. So it's definitely making an impact. And it's one that I think we were just going to look back in even a year or two from now and go, wow, I can't believe we used to do that by hand, and go. So.
Exactly. And it's such a time saver too. Yeah. So there are those advantages. Now, earlier you mentioned about DMCs being very similar to concierge, which, by the way, we have the National Concierge Association on the show today. So how does the trend of personalized guest experiences, like a concierge, impact the role of a hospitality or tourism professional?
Well, I mean, everybody wants to do something that's completely unique, over the top, never been seen before. We get that request almost every time. And honestly, if the meeting planner is not asking for that, they're not really doing their homework. So we're used to that request. That involves us really digging in and finding out what is unique to them. What have they done in the past? What are they looking for? Why are they coming to town? Is it all business? Is it an incentive group where these are their top producers for the year and they won this prize to come to Scottsdale or Phoenix and really get to celebrate? That totally changes our position of what we're offering. We're not going to do heavy content. We're not going to assume they're in a ballroom all day. We're going to take them out and show them the fun things and the, great outdoors that we have here in Arizona, tons of activities. They are really involved with CSR and giving back to the community. I think after the pandemic, a lot of the teams were newly formed, or we're seeing a lot of acquisitions where companies are combining and the people don't really necessarily know each other. They're taking this opportunity to come together, So when they're here, they want to be able to do things and see things and interact. So interactive entertainment is a huge part of what we do so that we can get them to talk. I mean, you can come stand in line at a, buffet or go grab a drink, but let's make that really cool. We don't want any lines. We want it to be interactive. We want it to be fun, conversational, a smoke enhanced whiskey station rather than just pouring a whiskey and Coke, like let's make it fun and let's make it something that they talk about, take pictures of and remember and chat about with their friends and share all over social media, of course.
Experiences are very memorable. So that's what you want to leave them with. So the lessons you've learned throughout your career, if you were in these students that are watching now in their shoes, what advice would you have for them, whether it's about the industry or about becoming, into the career of DMC? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, my number one rule is never burn a bridge. I hear my dad talking about that all the time. And, I think we have such a very unique, small, close-knit community here in Phoenix and in the Valley. And, everybody knows everyone, even though we're the 5th largest city in the country, and we have an incredible large amount of people in the hospitality industry here. We really do all know each other. I go into networking events all the time. And, I'm a big believer of when you work somewhere and you are interacting with those folks, there are going to be times when you realize that maybe you are looking for another opportunity or growth, or you want to check out a new sector of the hospitality. Always make sure that when you're leaving that, you are doing it with grace and professionalism. So that just goes without saying. That was the way I was raised and brought up by my family. But my other thing is networking and education. So I'm a big, big networker. I go to every networking event I can find. Yes, it's additional time. Yes, it takes away from my evenings, sometimes weekends. But I know that by doing that, I'm going to continue to stay in touch with people. I get to meet new people. And then that's where I kind of can figure out I'm kind of a matchmaker as well. I hear, hey, I'm looking for something, or hey, we're looking to hire here. And I get a lot of enjoyment out of putting people together and saying, hey, you should check out this person, or you should submit your resume over here. So I would say, any chance you get an opportunity to attend any type of networking event, go to it. I know it's intimidating in the beginning, but you'll realize everybody there, even they've been in the industry for years, everybody there is in the same boat. And they may know a couple more people than you do, but they're happy to introduce you. I introduce people all the time. The other side, I think, is education. And I continue to keep learning. I continue to keep growing. I just recently got my CMP certification. I wear my pin today. That's a big deal. It's something I've been learning, and I always admiring those with their CMP, certified meeting planning. I always wanted that designation and go through the process of the studying and the learning and the commitment and the time and dedication to earning your CMP. And this was last year. I was like, I'm going to do it. I have to continue to grow. I have to continue to develop as a professional, as a leader. And so education, I think, is a huge part of it.
Yeah. And then that seems to be the running theme this fun day, is that every top leader like yourself is a constant student of learning. And while you're learning, you might as well get your certification, because the credibility when you are working with a decision maker is enormous when they see that you had some type of certification within your field. And so congratulations. That is so huge. It's lifetime, and really makes a huge difference to those even you work with as well. So that's fantastic. Good for you. Now, how can, let's say now that you've described what a DMC, DMO is all about, and MC&A, what if there's a student going, hey, I want to know how to start? Because this sounds right up my alley. What's what a student should do?
It's a great field, because we do so many things. We work with the vendors, we work with caterers, we work with hotels, we work with restaurants, activities. I mean, it's a great way to break into the hospitality field, because through working with a DMC, you're going to be exposed to so many different arms of the hospitality world. One thing that every DMC is always looking for is what we call on-call staff or field staff. It's an hourly position. It's a way that you can start to see if this is something for you. We do look for those who have experience, but there are times that, you know, you could help out as an observer. You could help out kind of getting set up and helping behind the scenes of the meeting, and then understand the meeting a little bit better, and then say, oh, I could do that. You know, let me try that. That's really a good place for students to start. We're always looking for students that are just fresh out of hospitality management or any type of marketing or event degree, just because this is a good way for them to learn. They get to know us, we get to know them. And then, you know, one thing leads to another. We start putting on more and more of these jobs based on their, you know, experience and how well they did, and then did they enjoy it, or hey, I didn't care for this, but I did like this, and I was really good at this. So that's a good way to kind of dip your foot in the pool on it and see if it's a right match for you.
Yeah, and I love the way you said, you know, go to the networking events. I mean,
Yes,
better way to jump in. So meeting people and having fun at the same time and learning at the same time. So, yeah, definitely. Wow, this is great information. So our final question is something very personal to you, and that is, you know, what does International Hospitality Student Day 24 actually mean to you?
Oh, Deb, that's such a great question. For me, I was excited for this opportunity. You know, when you reached out and said this is what you were doing, and I, of course, was researching right away, like, what does this mean, and what is this all about? And it's just an exciting opportunity to really get a chance to speak to what we do. And I do also speak occasionally at Arizona State University. Kind of the similar, like, hey, what is this DMC thing all about? And can you explain how to break into the field? So I'm always wanting to give back and help students or anyone who's just entering the field. I think it's important. We've all started, we've all been there. And the mentors I had along the way really helped me. And if I can provide any information, clarity, any direction, I'm all about it, because I think it's just so important that we continue this great career field.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And you and I have been in it long enough to see the changes that have been going on, the challenges, the rewards. And now it's time for us to welcome the students from around the world, because they have so many other options out there for career-wise.
Yeah.
I tell you, this is the best. And every time I try to leave the industry, it kept roping me back.
Me too.
It's just way too fun. And
yeah, it's way too fun, and it is in your blood. It's a unique position. It's not a field that everyone decides is for them, but for those who are in it and those who stay in it, it's just I can't think of another field I'd rather be in.
Yeah, that is so true. And I'm so glad it fits you well. That's for sure. So students, here is Kelley's information. And I know she's got the website to MC&A, her email address, LinkedIn. What other ways can they reach you?
We're on Instagram, video, everything. It's everything these days. The more pictures, the more videos. We do a great production. So Instagram and Facebook as well. Yeah, you're everywhere. I see you everywhere. So, and in fact, I did see that announcement about your CMP come to mind, and that is just, I'm just ecstatic for you, because it's well deserved. The test is no fun, but studying. But you know, hey, if students are used to studying, they would probably jump right into these certifications right away. Who knows? Well, this has been such a delight. Thank you so much, my friend. And again, students, contact Kelley and MC&A. Either way, they would be delighted to assist you with not only her organization or industry, but any questions you have about the hospitality and tourism. Absolutely.
Yep, definitely. Well, thank you again. So everyone, happy International Hospitality Student Day 24.